Hello, everybody. Oops. There we go. Hello, everyone. Gonna wait a few minutes until more people come. But how are we doing so far? Hi, everybody. People are popping up. Hey, hello. Hey, guys. There we go. Gonna give a few, or maybe a minute or two until people pop up. More and more people are coming. Hey! Hi, I miss y'all too so much. Oh wow, that's a lot. Aw. Well, good luck to you and your rescue dragon Reezy. Hey everybody. Hey. Oh, we already got a question. I will answer that one in just a second. I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget. Hey. Oh, thank you, you guys. All right, more people are coming. Hey, everybody. All right. Thank you so much. I've missed you guys so much. Oh my goodness. Can you guys see me okay? Is the connection good? Let me know. Oh, awesome. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hello and welcome, everybody. It's so great to see you guys. I've missed you guys a lot. And if you guys don't already know, the reason why we're doing this live video is one, because I lost my laptop, stupidly, the laptop that I had done all my work on for 4 years and had all of the lizard videos. So now we're doing a live video because I do have a new one, but now I have to start fresh with everything, which is okay. But this is why we're doing this one. And also because I had lost my voice, and this is actually the first time I've talked in a whole week. So it's great to see you guys. Yeah, and let's remember that this is a informational thing. It's a family chat, so please be very, very respectful and nice in the chat. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for that donation. I love it so much. All right, so let's get started with questions. The first question that I saw before I started over here is, how do you know if your bearded dragon is sick? Well, first things first is you want to be sure to check their eyes, make sure that everything is good with them. If they look sick, if they have sunken in fat pads, if their eyes are sunken in, if they have like discoloration that you're noticing, anything that looks unusual, or if they act unusual, you need to be mindful and check that. Okay, I do have a whole video on this that have examples. Of course, this is a live video, so I don't know how to give examples over here, but I do have a whole video on it, and it is what your Beardy is trying to tell you. I think it's part 2, so check that one out, okay? All right, more questions. Is kale good to feed your Beardies on a daily basis? That is a no, and most pet stores will tell you that kale, you should feed it all the time, And a lot of Beardies do get fed kale a lot, like regularly, and they do end up fine. But there is such thing, sorry, someone is texting me. There is such thing as thriving, and there's such thing as living. So with kale, the reason why you don't feed it as much or all the time is simply because it has high oxalates, and it can actually like weaken the bone structure over time. So you don't want to feed that all the time, but it does have good things in it too. So what I say about kale is you can feed it sparingly with other things. So for example, if you have like a little tiny bit of kale with a bunch of collard greens, you can feed that. That's okay, and it will not hurt them. It's just if you feed it to them all the time and it's like their main source of food, that it usually starts to have a downward effect. So that's my answer on that. Oh wow, there's so many messages. I love it. Where's a good place to get live feeders? Okay, this is I tried ordering live feeders once, and I have a whole video on that. It's on rainbow mealworms. That was not a good experience for me. A lot of people in the comments will tell you that, oh, well, it's not their fault for USPS or whoever the delivery company, which is that is very true. But I would recommend just going to try to find a store that you can buy them at because you won't have the issue with shipping and all of that. But if you can find them, that's good. I've never tried any other ones, but I've heard that Josh's Frogs is really, really good with that. And I actually accidentally bought a lighting fixture from Josh's Frogs off of Amazon because they had linked it. And I was like, oh, okay. And it turned out perfectly okay. So maybe their bugs will too. Is spring mix okay for your bearded dragon to eat? I don't exactly remember all of what is in spring mix, but if it has like carrots, carrots are okay sparingly. Um, if it has any type of like lettuce, I would not feed it because lettuce, there have been some dragons that have died from lettuce. There's some like just lettuce in general is usually not the best source of nutrition for them, so I don't feed any type of lettuce to my dragons whatsoever. What are gray spots on bearded dragons to the new mom? Well, gray spots, it depends on what you're talking about. That can mean many things. For example, if you wake up in the morning and your bearded dragon's beard is gray and they're like darker than usual, that's simply because it's a natural reflex to suck in more heat. Or if you notice that they are starting to get cold, if you take them out of the tank and then they're starting to get dark, it's because they're getting cold and they need that heat. So that is very, very normal. And I mean, there's some other like health issues with certain gray spots. If it's like this discolored or any certain discolored like spot that's like weirdly displayed on them, sometimes that can either actually be stuck shed, an area that's about to shed, or it can be skin infection or anything like that. So if you are unsure, you can send me a picture to my social media accounts, and that's easier for me to help you because if you just explain it, I need to be able to see it in order to help you. So give me those examples, give me your concerns, and I can help you. And if there is no way that like I would be able to help you and you would be able to have a home remedy, I'm going to tell you to go see an exotic vet. Do male dragons live longer than females? Um, that is very debatable. It honestly depends. So, you know how females they reproduce and they also, not all females, but a good majority of females also have what I call a lizard period, honestly. It's where they just release a bunch of infertile eggs, and what infertile means is there is no baby inside. It's just lizard juice, which is kind of gross, but that's what it is. So when you have all of that, for example, my belly buns, she does that around like 6 times a year now. And I don't breed her. I don't plan to breed her, but she does that around 6 times a year. And sometimes they have issues with like eggs getting stuck inside of them if you're not careful and stuff like that. So depending on how much they are doing that, and if you are breeding a dragon, the likelihood of them living longer than a male is minimal. But it also depends, like how the bearded dragon was bred. Are they, were they bred properly? Are they going to have health defects? How were they cared for? There's so many factors that go into that. That's why it's like not really a thing that's a fact. It's just debated. All right. Woo, these are going fast. Do bearded dragons have feelings? Does he miss me? Does he feel happy when I pick him up? Okay, this is another very debated thing. So, if you... Oh, I can't say yes or no because it's not really a true fact or not. Feelings as in human sense, no, they don't have those. But they do have ways of showing you that they're enjoying something. They do have ways of showing you that they don't like something. And they do have natural instincts. For example, a lot of people, which is a myth, a lot of people think that the bearded dragon's beard getting dark means that they're only upset or territorial, which is actually not true. Sometimes it means that they're excited about something or they're like amped up, Sometimes, like for example, my Nyx, I'll let her outside of the tank, and when she runs around, she'll just start running around really fast and her beard will get a little dark. And I'm just like, aw, you're so cute. Look at you enjoying your outside time. So stuff like that. They can show you that they like something, but it's not necessarily, oh, I'm happy or oh, I love you. They don't really show that. They do show that they like some people more than others. Because my belly buns, she does not like the vet. She will like purposely like not poo or like stop breathing when they put the stethoscope up here. It's the funniest thing ever. Like, okay. Okay, I have an 8 to 12-month-old female dragon. I'm worried she is not pooping enough or often, and she should, and how often should blah, 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 how often should she be pooping? All right, with that one, honestly, the amount your dragon poos is determined by what you're feeding them and how often you're feeding them, and how much moisture they have within that diet. Because sometimes when dragons don't have enough moisture, they're not really able to squeeze it out, if you know what I'm saying. So, like, sometimes people have like dry urates, which is the white part of the poo, which is the urine of the poo. And if that's happening, you definitely need to up the hydration, and you also need to check for parasites because parasites can also suck up that hydration. But my bearded dragons, when I first got them, I wasn't really sure about the diet, so like I fed them, once, twice a week, like I was told to. And then I learned that, I feed them every other day, feed them a salad every day, and I amped it up. And like before, they only pooed like once a week, and now they're pooing like every other day, to every day, just about. And also because they have like they have a lot of hydration in their diet, so that's very important for that. And they've been having a very healthy schedule of pooing. I don't know how else to say it. So I would check their diet. Let's see. My Beardy has a black patch on his beard. Is that bad? I would send me a picture of that to my Instagram or Facebook, honestly, and I can tell you whether or not, because sometimes it's normal, sometimes it's not. Is it better to have more than one bearded dragon? I have one. Does she feel alone? Okay, I'm gonna get this nipped in the butt. Bearded dragons do not need friends. Bearded dragons naturally are solitary animals, and what that means is that they live on their own. They don't live in packs. It's just not what they do. And that's also a reason why you don't put smaller dragons with bigger dragons, because that bigger dragon will eat that smaller dragon as a snack, and there will be no warning about it. There's also some things where, as a lot of you guys know, I cohabbed for the longest time, and it was fine. My bearded dragons were never aggressive towards each other, and the reasoning behind all of that is explained in my OP tribute video, so please go watch it so I don't have to give the spiel here for everyone who already has seen that. And I'm sorry about my voice if it's hoarse. But I stopped doing that simply because I have always known that it is better for dragons to be solitary. It is better for them to thrive alone. So I had always been trying to, separate them. And finally, they are in separate tanks and they are doing marvelous, you guys. They are perfectly fine. I do let them out and, run around sometimes together, but like they're in their own separate tanks. They have their own little area. Nyx has her smaller tank because she's more comfortable in a 40-gallon opposed to a 75-gallon. Belly has the 75-gallon, and they are doing just fine. So I would say that your bearded dragon is not alone. They are better. They are better solitary. So just don't get two random dragons and put them together. The way that they are not alone and the way that they're happy is by you. You need to be their friend, you need to be their mom, whatever it is. Give them love, show them attention, let them have a good time, run around, do lizard things, let them be a dork and bob around and run into walls. Just let them be a lizard and they will be perfectly fine as long as you're giving them proper care, proper diet, proper shed control, etc. What is better for my bearded dragon to lay on, sand or lizard carpet? 100% lizard carpet, in that sense, simply because sand, though bearded dragons do have sand in their natural habitat, partially. It was like a mixture. Let me see. I have it right here. It's actually in my care guide that is on my reptile lovers group on Facebook under the files tab. I'm reading this directly from the care guide that there were studies done on the bearded dragon's natural substrate. So this is what it read. The natural substrate was tested by a beardy breeder in Australia and was proven to be a mixture of desert clay, dirt, silt, and natural red sand. Natural red sand you're not going to get anywhere here in the US, so don't even try to look for it because anything they sell you is not real. But two, the reason why we have all of these differences in how we, you know, have these beardies in their tanks and how we take care of them is simply because we are giving them a better environment, and that's why they live longer than they do in the wild. So sand is not really that safe to have for them. If you want to have sand, if you're worried about them digging or something, get a little mini patch of sand or like a little sandbox somewhere and like put it out of the area where you feed, because the issue is that all of that sand can actually get in their eyes, cause infections. It can, if it has glass in it, which a lot of sand does, all of that calci sand or whatever else that they say that, oh, it's reptile safe. No, do not buy that. They are tricking you. They are very good at marketing. Okay, they get deserve 100% at marketing. But don't buy that, simply because when they feed, you can actually cause impaction when they eat on it. And you know how your bearded dragon will like do this little thing, like that's them sniffing it, and sometimes they get that sand up in there and it doesn't digest, so it just sits in there and builds and builds and builds and builds, and that's what causes impaction. So they can't digest anything, eat anything, and then they'll end up dying if you don't have surgery to take all of it out. So carpet 100%. This is also an issue for paper towels for some bearded dragons because they will actually eat the paper towel. If you ever see your bearded dragon eating a paper towel, take it out, change the substrate, because that can get caught in there and cause impaction as well. They can't pass that. They cannot pass it. So be very careful and mindful. And if you are using carpet, be sure to be changing it. You can reuse a carpet, but it should be changed like monthly. If they're pooing a lot or have like parasites, especially if they have parasites, oh my gosh, get rid of the carpet. Don't even try to reuse that carpet, okay? Because they will still be in the carpet. Whew, I got on a rant, you guys. What are some signs of brumation? I have a few videos on this if you want to go search those as well. But basically the main signs is that they will start slowing down. They will start getting tired. They'll stop eating as much. They can even be a little grumpy. Like last brumation, my belly buttons hissed at me when I looked under the hut. I was like, are you okay? She said, shh. I was like, okay, all right, I'll leave you be. So yes, they can be grumpy. They can be a little sassy, and they can just look like they're sick, but not necessarily. So this is why when I say in those videos, I say it repeatedly, go to a vet before you let them go into brumation, so you make sure they don't actually have something wrong with them like parasites or something like that, because it can be really hard to determine. So you really, really, really want to be sure that you let them go to sleep healthy, and so that there's nothing like eating away at them quite literally while they're sleeping. That's not safe. It's not a good parent move. So just be careful, you guys. My bearded dragon hates taking baths. What can I do to keep him cleansed? And is a spray bottle good enough, or does he have to be saturated in water? Okay, I also have a whole video on how to bathe your dragon, or how to bathe your beardy, I think that's what it's called, which goes more in depth and actually has like video examples and whatever else with my baby Nix. But basically, you want to make sure that the water does not come above their chest so that there's no chance of them drowning. And one major fact about why bearded dragons just get scared in water is because their eyesight is not as great as you think it is. Their depth perception, their depth perception sucks. Like, it's so bad. That's why they run into walls and stuff. But they also can't see the water. It's clear, so unless it's moving, they can't really see anything about it. So basically, they're in this scary thing that's moving them, but they can't see what's moving them. That would freak me out too. So What I would do for baby dragons especially, put a little towel on the bottom of the tub or the little bath, whatever, the sink maybe that you're using, so that way they have something to grip on, maybe even like a tiny little rock, so they're not coming completely out of the water because you want them to soak, but something that they can like, put their paws on and just be like, all right, I'm good. There is a fly. That is so rude, mister. Um, But yeah, just have it like that. And also, you want to be sure to make sure the water is, you know, around like 70, 80, no more than 80 degrees. Something that you would put a newborn in. Okay, like a newborn baby. You don't want it to be any hotter than that. You don't want it to be too cold either because remember, they are reptiles, they need warmth. But this also helps poo. So it's very good to have baths. Always do it twice a week, you guys. Um, Oops. My bearded dragon isn't eating. We have the proper setup and all the lights are fantastic. I've heard that they have voracious appetites, but all... Da, 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 da. Okay, so basically... Oop, I think I accidentally deleted a message somehow. So to whoever I did that to, I did not mean to. I promise. But anyways, bearded dragons sometimes stop eating for a number of reasons. One, they are upset with something. Maybe you change something in the tank, or maybe they're just like upset with the surroundings. Maybe they feel stressed, whatever that is. So if there were any changes, I would give them a little time. For example, when you bring a bearded dragon home, they might not eat for like a week or two, and that's completely normal. They are very durable. They can survive a week or two without food. They can survive months without food and brumation. So think about that. They will be okay. Two, if they are sick, if they have parasites of any kind, if they're, look ill, I would take them to the vet. I would just go ahead and take them to the vet and get a fecal sample. If you can't find anything wrong there and they're still looking like that, maybe get a blood test because there are some things that you can find in the blood that you can't find in the fecal matter. Um, what else? If they're in brumation or if they're starting to go in brumation, which sometimes does actually happen in the summer in the warm months. Don't know why, but bearded dragons can actually brumate anytime during the year. So don't get fooled if it happens during the summer. I would definitely check and be sure to go to the vet as always, but don't be fooled with that. And sometimes like they'll start to not eat, get tired. That's all signs of brumation. So if any of those ring a bell, I would like go through all of those options. What if I bathe my bearded dragon too much? It depends what you're doing when you bathe them. You shouldn't be using soap unless it is bearded dragon safe soap or reptile, like all natural safe soap that is sold by somebody who is like maybe a breeder or knows something about reptiles. So I wouldn't use soap, anything like that. And also, if you are using that Beardy safe soap, be sure that you are not submerging them in water with that soap. They shouldn't be submerged into it. It should be like use a little soap, rub it on them, rinse type of thing. Never submerge them in water with soap because you don't want them ingesting it. It's not safe in that sense. But bathing them too much, I mean, I don't really know if that's a thing. You shouldn't be bathing them every day. I mean, unless you have a silky where they're having like shed issues and you need like a little soak or something like that. That's different. If they're having shed issues, but like I don't know. I've never heard of bathing too much. I can think of there would be issues if like it's too much humidity and it can actually cause a respiratory infection and stuff like that. But other than that, I've never heard of bathing too much. No, don't use Dawn soap to bathe bearded dragons in. Do not use Dawn soap to bathe bearded dragons in. Only bearded dragon, reptile safe soap. Do not use Dawn, even though it has an animal on it. You can use Dawn soap to clean their carpets and stuff. I've done that before, but I would not use it directly on the dragon, no. What do I think about excavator clay? Excavator clay is great to use in as one of the substrates or even maybe the main substrate for a bearded dragon lay box or lay bin. If you don't know what that is, I have a whole video on that as well. And all you have to do is search any of these videos is go to my channel, go to videos and go to that little search key that's like up on this side of the page, and you just type in like one word like Laban or Brumation or whatever else, and all the videos with that in the title will pop up, or with the subject and the title will pop up. So excavator clay is, don't use it as a main substrate in your bearded dragon tank, because any loose substrate is not a good substrate to use as a main substrate. I'm saying substrate a lot, but you can use it in your lay bins. I think it would be a great substrate that would like hold, because that's what they need. They need it to be able to burrow and kind of just wiggle their butt in and lay all the eggs. So, oh, thanks so much. Thanks so much, Socially Undead, for the donation. Any advice on bringing in a new reptile with a Beardy? Can it be same tank or no? Oh, no, 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 no. Don't put another reptile in the bearded dragon tank, simply because there are so many different types of like needs for all of these different animals, and you don't want to have to like compromise between two different species. And also, you have no idea if like that species can give your bearded dragon something, or if vice versa. You have no idea. I mean, you could be starting like a whole different like illness, and like one could eat the other. There could be a lot of issues. I just really would not risk it. I would not do it, especially since bearded dragons again are solitary animals. They don't need friends. What does it mean if my bearded dragon is glass surfing? That's a great question. Glass surfing can mean a bunch of different things. If it's a female, it can mean that they are gravid, which means that they are egg bearing. They either have infertile or fertile eggs inside of them, and they need to lay, or they're getting ready to lay. Two, well, that's only for females. The rest of these are for boys and girls. It can mean that they just pooed and they don't want to be in there, which is very common. I don't know if you all have noticed, but when they poo, they just start to get really active, and they're just like, ah, and like just lose their minds and start glass surfing. They want out, because I don't want to be in the same area where I pooed either. Another one is they just want outside of the tank. They want to go explore. They see something they like, or they just want to go explore. Three is that they are hungry, or I don't remember which number it is, but next one, it means that they are hungry. Because sometimes if you haven't fed them, or if they're like just super agitated and you haven't, and they're hungry, they'll like look around and see like little specks on the floor or something. They're just like, I want to get that speck. I want to eat it. I want to eat it. So it can also mean that. It can also mean they want attention. As my bearded dragon is now scratching on the tank. How you doing, Bibs? I might bring her over here to come chill at the window, because she's just freaking out. But anyways, that's all of what it can mean. So what mine is saying right now is that she wants out and she wants attention. What is brew mating? Brew mating is where a bearded dragon, okay, so you know how bears hibernate in the winter? Bearded dragons do the same, except it's called brew mating. So because the temperatures are so cold in their natural habitat, they shut down their bodies and typically burrow underground, under like dirt or somewhere where it's like moist underground, to keep them hydrated. And which also means that they don't breathe a lot. Their breathing rate is slowed down. Their metabolism is slowed down. And they basically shut their body down completely to hibernate or to brumate, sorry, for like up to like 9 months, 10 months. I mean, it can be for a long time. Sometimes it can be shorter, since we do have them in captivity, but sometimes it can be even longer. And when they do have the longer brumation periods, sometimes they come out for breaks and like drink some water and try to eat or something like that. But just be careful if this happens. I would wait like a week or two to actually start feeding them hard foods like roaches and crickets and stuff again, because you don't know if they're going back into that brumation. So until then, feed them stuff like hornworm, something that's easy to digest and is like mostly water-based, because that way it'll come out quicker and you don't have the chance of them going to sleep again with that food in their stomach. Because if they do that, it can cause infections and it can actually kill them. So be very, very mindful. Yeah. What do you do if your bearded dragon isn't pooping regularly? Um, if it's not pooping regularly, I would make sure you have the proper diet, honestly. And if you don't know what the proper diet is, I can send you my care guide, or you can join my reptile lovers group on Facebook. Just be sure to answer all the questions on Facebook, guys, because I have a lot of like androids and stuff like applying to be in the group. So unless you have answered all three of the questions with a yes or a sure or something like that, I automatically delete that. So, because I want to make sure you're a real person. And also somebody like, if you can't answer my questions, how do I know that you're going to be nice and follow the rules in my group, type of thing. So just be sure to answer those questions. But if you don't know the proper diet, you don't know anything about like substrate, or like you don't know the first aid kit or anything like that, all of that is in my pages and pages and pages of information in this care guide that is under the files tab on the left-hand side of the page in my reptile lovers group. So I can send that to you through email if you don't have like a Facebook or something, or you can just join the group and have it. And the thing about this is you can pull it up on your phone and have it every single place you go, because it is a Word document. Do you handle your bearded dragons at all during brumation? No, it is not good to handle your bearded dragons during brumation, simply because it can actually shock their system. So again, brumation is where they shut down their system completely. So if you go over and wake them up, it can actually like startle them, and sometimes, which is rare, but it can give them a heart attack. You don't want to do that. You don't want to literally scare your baby to death. But also it disturbs their sleep, and you don't know if they needed to sleep longer. It can actually like mess up their system if you do wake them up too early. So you don't want to handle them. All you literally want to do is just open up the little thing, check them real quick, make sure they're still like alive, aren't stiff, aren't, dead, and then just put it back down. I only checked my babies like once a week. I left them alone. I didn't do anything but made sure the light schedule was on regularly as usual. The white part of the poo is the urate, correct? Yes, it is. That is the urate where all of their liquid is held. Hello, soap monkey. How long is a bearded dragon's lifespan? Well, I think the oldest recorded was like, oh man, I don't remember correctly. It was like 22, 23, something like that. I think that was the oldest recorded one. I could be wrong. You can correct me in the comments. But it was definitely in their 20s. Usually they live like anywhere from like infancy, juvenile stage, a few months, to like around 10 years. But if you do take care of them, and if they were bred properly, because sometimes bearded dragons aren't bred properly, and there's no matter like what you can do, there's nothing to do, and they just end up dying sooner than the other ones, which is also why breeding is very, very important to get right. If you do not have the lineage of your dragon, if you do not have their breeding history, do not breed that dragon, okay? It is not fair to that dragon. It's not fair to the owners. It's not fair to anyone. It can be very, very dangerous. So just going to put that out there. I feel very strongly on that topic. Oh man. But the lifespan, that's where I was. But they can live around like 10 years. If you are caring for them properly, if the breeding history and their breeding was proper, then they can live like 20 years or so. Maybe longer. Who knows? Maybe you'll have the longest living dragon ever. Who knows? Can a bearded dragon recover from hide paralysis after recovering from impaction? That all depends on the dragon. I don't have experience in that topic. I have seen bearded dragons have like miraculous recoveries before, but not from like major paralysis. I don't know if you're talking about if that's a major paralysis or not. I have had a dragon have a seizure, and they were like kind of paralyzed for a second or two, like afterwards when they were like coming to and stuff, but they popped right up and they were fine. But I have no idea. That's definitely something you want to talk to your exotic vet about. I don't want to, if I don't know something, I'm going to tell you guys. My Beardy will only ever poo on his bed and refuses to go in his terrarium. For some reason, this is a huge problem for people. People are like, no matter what I do, my dragon won't like poo unless I'm outside of the tank. And I mean, maybe they're just a little bougie. I don't know. Do you have a bougie baby? Maybe you do. You've spoiled them. I think that's the issue. Who knows? But honestly, if you know about around the time like when your bearded dragon poos, just have a schedule of when you take them out. Wait until they poo to take them out. Or yeah, no, just honestly wait until they poo to take them out. Like wait, even if you aren't taking or even if they haven't pooed that day, wait another day. Like just wait until they poo, then take them out, and then they'll get into that consistent schedule. They're like, oh, okay, I can't poo outside of the tank, or I'm not going to be allowed out, type of thing. So they're very good with schedules. Someone says, why is the tip of my bearded dragon's tail black? Um, you should send me a picture of that in like one of my social media accounts, maybe Instagram or Facebook. But it can be many different things. A lot of bearded dragons actually have a naturally black end of their tail. Like they have it, it's like banded almost, like where they have like the black stripes and it's a little bit darker than the other side of the tail. Which that part is normal. That's completely normal for those dragons, but not all dragons have that. So if your bearded dragon's tail is a lot darker than normal, then it can mean a lot of different things. It can mean that they're sick, upset, or hurt, basically, or it can also mean that they're getting a little frisky if it's that time of year. A little hormonal, I guess you could say. Yeah. I don't know how else to say that. So if you aren't sure, then either go to an exotic animal vet right away because it can really mean that they are, super sick and you need to get them checked immediately, or it can just mean one of the other things. So you can send me a picture and I will try to get back to you as fast as I can. But if not, just go to the vet and they will definitely be able to tell you as long as it's an exotic animal vet. All right, going down. Wow, there are so many comments, you guys. I love it. I love it. Um, ooh, let's be nice, you guys. Let's see. Okay, here's a question. Is it true that the size of them depends on the size of their tank? Where can you get a 55 gallon tank or bigger? Do you have to get it customized? Okay, so the whole size of the tank compared to the animal is not true for bearded dragons. That is very true for fish. Um, a lot of fish, especially goldfish, for some reason. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna go into that because I'm not good with fish. Anything aquatic, I'm not good with that. Anyways, back to reptiles. It's not true for bearded dragons. They will keep growing regardless of how big that tank is. But I got my 75-gallon tank in a pet store down here where I live, which I'm not gonna say where that is, but I got a 75-gallon tank in store. It was in a family-owned store. But anything past that, you do have to have it customized, at least where I'm from. You can try to find something off of a used store, like maybe Facebook Marketplace. I've seen a lot of great tanks in good condition over there. Just type in your area and you'll have a bunch of them pop up, I'm sure. You can also get them custom made if you want, which actually isn't that expensive. I think it's cheaper to have it custom made than it is to buy one in store sometimes because they're like way overpriced in store. So if you can go to like Petco or something like that, if you can go to Petco or something like that and get like $1 per gallon sale, I think it is, you can just do that. But yeah, it just depends on your area, honestly. I'm sorry. I honestly wouldn't get one shipped. I wouldn't trust that unless it's packaged really well and they have like a return policy or like a warranty. My Beardy is 3 months Or, oops, my Beardy is 3 years old now and has not laid eggs until about 2 months ago. She laid 65 eggs total. Is there any food or vitamins I need to give her to keep her healthy after? Oh my gosh, girl! That is a lot of eggs. Did she lay all of that at once or was it in different spans? Because my belly laid, oh gosh, like a couple hundred eggs in the span of like freaking 6 times of her laying in one summer. So with that, I do understand high risk of that. So those bearded dragons, you need to make sure that you give her a high fat diet because she's going to she's going to start having her fat pads sink in. She's going to look depleted because that took a lot out of her. Literally all of her juices and nutrients are going into those eggs and then coming out of her. So you want to make sure you have a high fat diet, feed things like a very, very, very good nutritious salad. Make sure to give her stuff like butternut squash, a lot of like, what are they called? Hornworms are great because they have water and high fat content. Silkworms, butterworms, give them, of course, their main staples too, like roaches, but they're going to be really, really hungry. So you need to be sure that you are feeding them as much as they want, as much as they can eat, because that poor girl is going to need it. Oh my goodness, my dad keeps texting me. um, Okay, so Soap Monkey said that my tank is 125 gallons with the front opening doors, which is amazing for reptile tanks. You want that. The top opening ones suck. Once you go to the front opening doors, you can never go back. I'm telling you, it's they just spoil you too much. And they said that they sell it at the local pet stores as well as the big old fish stores. See, again, you want to go to the family-owned places instead of like big corporate like Petco and PetSmart because they will gyp you. And I also found that buying those big tanks is a lot cheaper than trying to buy them in a big corporate company store. Oh, it's okay. Apologies are great. It's okay. Just be nicer in the chat, y'all. Should you eat around your bearded dragon? It depends what you're eating, okay? Especially if your bearded dragon is out of the tank. Let me tell you a little story. And I learned really quickly that I cannot have belly outside while I am eating ever. I had this really tasty salad, okay? I mean, it had the strawberries, it had the blueberries, it had some nuts in it. Oh my goodness. And I'm the type of person that doesn't put dressing on my salad. I take like a fork of it and dip it in the dressing just a little bit because I like to actually taste my salad and not just the dressing. I was actually sitting right around here and my baby, because there's a window right here. You can't really see it, but there's a window right here. And I had Belly right there. She turns around, starts looking at my salad, and she jumps right in my salad, wiggles her butt in it, and starts eating it. Needless to say, you don't. If you have a fat old dragon like mine, love her so much, but she is such a fatty at heart. I mean, oh my goodness, she is such a fatty at heart. But like, you just need to be careful, especially if you have stuff that they cannot eat, like chicken and stuff like that. They're gonna smell it and they're gonna be like, oh, let me try it, but that will actually make them sick, so don't let them eat that. So if you're eating, be sure that your bearded dragon is in the tank because they might get a little curious and want to start eating your food, just like a 3-year-old might. They'll just start putting their little tongues and hands and butts in it. My bearded dragon is 2 years old and she has not laid any eggs. Should I be worried? No, you shouldn't be worried at all because it's actually a proven fact that some females don't lay eggs at all. And if you have that female that doesn't lay eggs at all, you're so lucky, girl. Like, you don't have to worry about any health concerns or anything like that. Oh my gosh, like, it can be really stressful sometimes. Like, I've had times where where she was completely fine, but like, it was my first time dealing with like a laying dragon. I was like, ah, what's gonna happen? I was flipping out. But, yeah, it shouldn't be a concern. Even if your dragon, and if you do have a dragon that does lay, Be like, it's totally okay. Your bearded dragon is gonna look tired. Your bearded dragon is gonna sometimes look like they're gonna die because of how tired they are. But honestly, think about it with anything having a baby. They're gonna be tired, even if they're just like eggs. But she's basically pushing out like babies, but it's like liquid nothing. It's this poor females. Like I feel so bad for them. I feel so bad for them. But don't be worried if they aren't laying. So, a real question, do bearded dragons have their periods like menstruation? Again, bearded dragons, I call it a lizard period. They aren't gonna like bleed out of that area. If they're bleeding out of that area, you need to go to a vet like right now. Like in that moment, you need to go to the vet immediately. They should not be bleeding. But females do lay sometimes, not all, but sometimes they lay a couple clutches of infertile eggs. And infertile means that there are no babies inside of it. It is literally just lizard juice that they are pushing out. So, I mean, yes and no. I'm not sure if that was a question or not, but they said around 8 to 12 months old, sexing your dragon, best time, not before. Yeah, I would say that's very, very true. Usually, I wouldn't even try sexing your dragon until they're around a year old, or 10 months to a year is when I would start trying to sex your dragon because also there are so many different types of bearded dragons. Some of them are smaller than others, some of them are bigger, some of them are like medium sized. So like some of them grow faster than the other ones do. So the bigger they are, the easier it will be to sex them. And the way that you sex them is by lifting up their tail and you look at the back of their tail, like near their little booty crack. And if it has two bumps, it is a male. If it has one bump, it is a female. How do I discipline my dragon? I wouldn't discipline your dragon. I'm a little. What do you mean by discipline? Is my question. I wouldn't try disciplining your dragon. Um, I mean, you can teach them how to like be potty trained. You can also teach them what the schedule is when you're coming out, when the lights are coming on, stuff like that, all by having a repetitive schedule. But I wouldn't like discipline your dragon because some of the things that they do are completely in their nature and that's not going to change and you aren't going to change that. So you shouldn't be like putting your dragon in timeout or anything like that. Don't do that. Exactly. Positive reinforcement is much better. If you're watching TV or PC with your beauty, will it hurt their eyesight? No, it won't hurt their eyesight. I mean, heck, my bearded dragons gravitate towards my like TVs and my laptops. If you have a laptop and you notice your bearded dragon wanting to lay on the keyboard, it's because of the heat. They actually like can like sense the heat, feel it, and they just like want to lay on it for the warmth of it. And also because like the screen is so bright, they're just like, oh, heat source. So they think that they're gonna be warm over there. But yeah, it's not gonna hurt their eyes. I mean discipline as in kids get corner spanking, so can I do something to like stop curtain things they're or current things they are doing? I'm guessing no. I mean, your bearded dragon is gonna be your bearded dragon no matter what you do. They aren't children, so they're not going to understand. Be nice now. They're not going to understand you disciplining them. So if you put them in a corner, or if you put them in like a little cage or something like that to discipline them, they're just going to hate you. Like they're just going to be very, very mean and start because that actually will mess them up over time. They're going to start being aggressive towards you and be spiteful because they don't, they're being a lizard. Everything they're doing is them being a lizard. So you can't discipline them. No, 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 no. So it says, so somebody says, my beardy baby does not sleep at night. How can I help him? Um, I mean, it depends on what's going on. They should be in a completely dark space. So there shouldn't be any lights on at night. It should be completely dark and they should be sleeping. Uh, if they aren't, maybe have them in an area where it's not like too humid or too hot or too loud, maybe, which that's usually not a thing with dragons. They can sleep through just about anything. So I don't know if, as long as their lights aren't on and as long as they're in the right temperature, they shouldn't be having an issue with sleeping. You probably have a video on this, but I'll ask anyways. What are your thoughts on bioactive enclosures? Bioactive, I actually don't have a video on it, by the way. But bioactive enclosures are a great thing and very, very great for your bearded dragon if you can do it correctly. I haven't done a bioactive enclosure because there's so much that goes into setting it up and getting it correct. And you also, like, the thing about a bioactive enclosure is it doesn't need maintenance really. Besides like the normal things like picking something up if it falls down, making sure your substrate is actually holding the plants, and making sure that you don't have too much of something and your heat is correct, and all of that is correct. But it can be really tricky, and it is so easy to get it wrong. And if you do it incorrectly, it can actually harm your dragon instead of help your dragon. But even if you don't have a bioactive enclosure, your bearded dragon can be just fine. They can thrive and live perfectly fine without one. But if you do have one, and if you do get it correct, bioactive enclosures are great. I see no issue with them. I think they are really neat and beautiful, and they make a great thing to look at. And it can also be like a great family thing, like, oh, look at my Beardies and his little bioactive thing. I mean, I will try it in the future when I have more money, more time, honestly. All right, let's see. Can males brumate? Yes, they can, just like females. Um, I mean, it's the same for that. Brumation is no different from male to female, as long as you don't have the thing where some females like to try to lay eggs while they're in brumation, which I've only seen once, so it's not a common thing, so don't get concerned about that. But sometimes that can happen with females. Is there any kind of heat lamp that doesn't cause light? Yes, there is. There is something called an oh gosh, I'm I'm totally forgetting what it's called. Oh, shit. It's a oh my gosh, I totally forgot the name of it. But there is this bulb that you can buy that it's like kind of swirled. It's not a coil bulb, but it's like a flat swirled bulb. Help me out here, guys, if you know what it's called. Heat emitter. There you go. Heat emitter is the only one. Thank you so much, Moon Rose Douglas. You helped me out there. I just could not think of the name of it. But if you use a heat emitter, that is the only one that doesn't have light, and the only one that you should be using at night for your dragon for extra heat source. And the only reason you would need extra heat at night is if your temps are below 65 degrees Fahrenheit. They can't be in anything cooler. All right. Somebody said my Beardy is watching this with me and tried attacking her hair. Yeah, my bearded dragons try to actually eat my hair all the time. I don't know what it is about all this, but they're just like, oh, food, let me eat it. Okay. All right, so I'm not seeing... Okay, how high is too high for humidity? You don't want to have your humidity above 30%. You don't want to have it below 30% really either, because there is such thing as air that is too dry. I would have it like around there, but you don't want it above 30%, okay? How long can I let my dragon free roam in the house? I mean, that depends on the temperature of your home, honestly, and what they're showing you, because they will let you know when they are ready to go back inside the tank. Um, for example, if your bearded dragon is running around, just running around, running around, running around, and then they take a break or they're starting to get like darker in color, that means that they are trying to suck in heat again and they're starting to get cold. So you want to put them back in the tank. Usually, like even for window watching or free roaming, with my babies, like it can last anywhere from like 30 minutes to an hour. I think I've had them out, the longest I've ever had them outside of the tank was like 4 hours, but that was only when I was taking them outside for an adventure and they had like the sun. Um, but without the sun and just free roaming, I think it was like an hour and a half was the longest. But that's also because like I don't use air conditioning. Like I don't really use air conditioning a lot. Like I'm fine. I'm okay with blizzard weather. Like I've just never, so they can last a lot longer in my apartment than per se my parents' home where it is blasted AC and it's even makes me cold. um How old are my Beardies? So, my little Nixie Bubs is actually, we found out, around 6 years old or so. So she's older than Belly, even though she is smaller than Belly, but that all doesn't matter with age for bearded dragons because those babies are two completely different types of bearded dragons. And then Belly is only, she actually turned 3 this May 26th. So she is freshly 3 years old. So yeah, that's how old my babies are. Do bearded dragons need human hides like geckos? No, they do not need a human hide at all. Any idea about muscle spasms not caused by calcium deficiency? Um, Mainly that is the reason for muscle spasms, which is calcium deficiency, but it can also be improper nutrition, whether they haven't had enough, you know, what is it, hydration or stuff, kind of stuff like that. It can also be part of certain illnesses. I cannot think of like the proper names of them right now, but I'm gonna do a whole video on like all of these different illnesses as well. But like there are a couple different illnesses and diseases that they can get that can actually cause muscle spasms that aren't related to calcium deficiency. So again, I would, if you have an issue with this with your dragon, be sure to go to an exotic vet. If they can't find anything from fecal matter, be sure you have a video of their muscle spasms or like make sure they're doing it when you're at the vet's thing. And you want to also get a blood test because blood can show so much more than what fecal matter can. My dragon has been really weird about eating since he came out of brumation and hasn't been pooping regularly. Is this something to be concerned about? So bearded dragons, when they freshly come out of, or first come out of brumation, ooh, excuse me, sometimes can be like a little awkward and not how they were before. Sometimes it takes them a little bit to really get up to like their regular schedule and how they eat and a proper diet again. And that's simply because they've kind of just been like dead for like a couple months or whatever. I mean, not literally dead, but they've just been out for a couple months or a couple weeks. And I would be just a little like, too, if I just came out of my sleep. So it would take me a little bit to get like back on the horse again. Um, so that's totally normal. If you do have concerns about their eating or if they're acting like really weird, be sure that you go to an exotic animal vet and get a fecal sample. And if you can't find anything there and like they're still acting weird, be sure to get a blood test because again, blood tests can show so much more than fecal matter can. All right. How can I lower the humidity? There are a few ways that you can do this. The main and best and most effective way that you can do this is getting a dehumidifier. You can get like miniature ones. that you can mount in the tank actually. And there's some that, like, of course you can get like really big ones that like sit outside of the tank, and those help, really well as well. If you need a quick fix, something to lower it down a little bit, you can get a sock full of rice and tie it up and put it in the tank. You can have a couple of those because that uncooked rice will actually suck up that moisture. Uh, you can also be sure that you have no open water, like you don't have a water dish, you don't have a little tub, a bath, anything in there, especially during those hot months, because it will just add to the humidity. So me, I don't even leave a water dish in there anymore. What I'll do with the water dish is I will leave it in there, like I'll like put it in there once a week for like 30 minutes to an hour, or like I'll leave it in there one day during the week and then take it out because I don't want my humidity to be all messed up. You just don't want that. My bearded dragon never drinks water out of their water basket, so do they get enough fluids by spraying? With spraying, you shouldn't be spraying them all the time, simply because that can cause respiratory issues with the humidity and stuff like that, and that spraying can go on the sides of the glass and just cause humidity. So what you want to do is you want to be sure that you let them have a bath twice a week, which a lot of the times they will be drinking water. Be sure you're not using any soap in that water because they do like to drink that water, and you don't want them to take in any of that. You also can give them water through syringe by just dripping a little bit from their nose, and it'll like dribble to their mouth, and they'll just be like, ah, water. My dragons love that. Oh my gosh, they love it so much. Um, you can also give them water through what they eat, like their fruits and their greens and their bugs and their veggies, all of that. So through all of those things, they should be getting enough water in their diet. If not, you might want to tweak something and give them more water that way. Through a water dish, they don't necessarily, again, like I said, they don't need a water dish in there because it will cause a lot of humidity, but having a water dish in there every so often, once a week, twice a week, is perfectly okay. Maybe once during the day, take it out type of thing is perfectly okay, and shouldn't cause any issues. How come my bearded dragon gets all mad and black when I take him outside and let him out on the grass? This happens to a lot of bearded dragons. It means that they are on high alert. Also, sometimes you might see that they stick their head up and their tail up straight. That means that they are on high alert watching everything, because think about it. Your bearded dragon is used to a very calm environment where they don't have any threats in their enclosure. So when you take them outside, they have the whole sky, they have birds flying over them, they have dogs, they have cars, they have all these people they don't know, they have all these sounds they've never heard before, and it's all happening in front of them for such a tiny little lizard in such a big world. And so it freaks them out. They get like really antsy, and they get all like, sometimes like they'll put their beards out and just start like hissing at everything and being little baby derps and just they're so cute. But it's because they get nervous and they're not used to everything happening around them. Some bearded dragons they just don't care. They'll just be sitting there like, yeah, what of it, I'm a big bad lizard. And other ones are just like, the world is going to end. So you just like some bearded dragons can handle it, some can't. But I have found, even with my Nyx, who hates, oh my gosh, she does not like adventures. She hates being outside. She's scared of every little thing. Even for her, she has gotten better being outside, with the repetitive going outside every summer. So she has gotten better with that. What do you think about letting your Beardy be a therapy animal? It's actually so fun you asked that. My belly buns, my big orange baby, is actually a ESA baby, which means an emotional support animal. So the only way that you can get them as a ESA, especially if you want to have just a therapy animal, I'm not sure on like what you need or what process you need to go through that. But for an ESA, emotional support animal, the only way that you can actually have them as one with the proper documentation is if you are seeing a therapist regularly currently, and you have the documentation from your therapist to who, like, wherever you're trying to bring that baby, wherever it's like, whether it's like at work, whether it's at school, which I didn't do. I didn't bring my baby to the classroom because that's just not the environment for a lizard. Or whether it's going to some place that's like a children's home or something like that, you need the proper documentation that says, hey, so-and-so is using this animal for these reasons and it helps this and this, so you need to have that proper documentation. And so for me, mine is just like on my phone. I can just like pull it up on my phone, which I can't do right now because I'm recording on my phone, but you need to have proper documentation for that. And I can do a whole video on that if you guys would like, and I can show you the documentation I have, the steps, and like word for word, step by step. If you guys would like that, let me know in the comments. Good afternoon, Nemesis. What do you do if there are muscle spasms not caused by calcium deficiency? I have no idea what's happening. I have been to the vet. Have you been to an exotic vet? If so, maybe try another exotic vet because they should be able to tell you what the issue is. If they cannot tell you what the issue is, then they are not good at their jobs and they have no idea what they're talking about, which sometimes does happen. I have come to the point in my life where sometimes I know more than the exotic vet does, and that's a problem because I was not studied to be an exotic vet. I just am teaching you guys through scientific studies, peer-reviewed studies, and through experience. So what you can try to do is give them more water, try to up the calcium, give them liquid calcium, not the powdered, I mean, like you want to give them powder, but like make sure you are giving them liquid stuff, especially because that way it's just better for them. It's just, it's just better for them to give them liquid calcium if they're having issues like that. Otherwise, send me a video maybe, and I can try to help you as best as I can. Somebody's older dragon won't eat veggies. So the issue with these older dragons not eating the greens and veggies, that's simply because whoever had them when they were younger, whether you got them when they were younger or whether you had them when they were younger, they weren't introduced to this stuff when they were little. Because bearded dragons, if they are hungry enough, they're gonna eat what's in front of them. That's the thing. So at this stage, if your bearded dragon hasn't had that for the longest time, you've kind of given in and just given them the candy, which is or the meat instead of the salad, which is the bugs and all of that, it's going to be hard for them to switch over for an older dragon because they're so used to it. You know, they grew up on just eating bugs or, you know, just doing that. So the best way that you can get them to eat their greens is keep trying all of these different types because bearded dragons do have preferences on what they eat, and sometimes they don't like certain greens or veggies. So you want to be sure that you're constantly trying different things and also just feeding those veggies and fruits until they actually eat them. I've had a 2.5 week standoff. I had a 2.5 week standoff with my dragon because she would not eat her veggies. She just wouldn't eat it. And then finally she tried the collard greens and now she'll eat them all the time. She will eat them all the time now. She was just so hungry that she just had to eat the collard greens. And like I did give her like little slurries with like a little bit of bugs in it, but like she just wouldn't eat into like fresh greens or anything like that, even though I was giving it to her through syringe. She's just like, no, I don't want it, I'm picky. But she eventually started to eat it. So sometimes you have to have a standoff with them, and that is the best and sometimes the only way that you can get them to eat it. You will see that sometimes dragons, even if they do try something, they won't go back to try it again because they just don't like it. And that's okay. Try something different. At least they tried it, and at least you know. And the best way to do this if you're going to work and you have no idea of, oh, if they try, I don't know if they tried it or if they just played in it. You can actually get like little video cameras that sit up in your bearded dragon's tank, and you can like have it go directly to your phone or record it or whatever, and you can go back and look at what your bearded dragon was doing, which I'm going to invest in those because I don't have them, but I really want them in both of my baby's tanks. He was dehydrated. Yeah, if your bearded dragon was dehydrated, that can very well or that can definitely be a cause of muscle spasms, just like in a human. Do you feed your beardies mice? No, no, no bueno. No, 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 no. You don't ever feed bearded dragons mice. What you can feed them are pinkies, which are the baby mice. Like, they shouldn't have any fur on them. They should be pink and babies. Okay, they shouldn't be running around and able to bite you and fight your dragon. You can't. It's just not good for them because one, they are captive bred, so they aren't in the wild. They don't have. They're like. It's very hard for them to digest it, and it's not safe for them. That's an animal that can be very dangerous for them because it can bite them, cause injury, all of that. So you want to feed them pinkies. Pinkies are a great source of nutrition for bearded dragons who have just had eggs, laid eggs. So for females that are gravid or laying eggs, that is a great source of nutrition for them. And most of the time they'll eat it. Some bearded dragons don't like them, so don't be like, oh, if your bearded dragon doesn't eat it, you know. Yes, bearded dragons can eat pinkies. Yep. All right, all right, all right. So somebody said, so I'm considering breeding dubias. Would I still need to add other insects? And I'm guessing you mean in their diet. Do I need to add more insects in their diet, or can they just eat dubias? Well, I would definitely have them like feed on other things because it is best for them to have a varied diet. You want to have a variety of what they can eat because they're going to get bored of just roaches, or they're going to get bored of just crickets or just worms. They need to have their variety. It's a lot healthier for them that way because each adds like something different that the other does. You know what I'm saying? So it's best to have a varied diet. So me, for example, I breed dubias. I have thousands of roaches in that room right now. And I still feed other bugs. I'll still grab crickets. I'll still grab, hornworms. I'll still grab, what are those other little guys? BSFL. I'll still grab like NutriGrub or whatever else I can get if I see it. I'll still have those varied diets, and it's because it's healthier for them. But having a dubia colony is so great, and having like any sort of little bug colony that you can breed is great because one, it is safer for your baby because you know exactly where you're getting it from. You know that they are clean, you know that they are parasite free, and you won't have any concerns about that, so you have peace of mind, a little bit of stress off of you, and you won't have as many vet visits. Like, I have had practically 0 vet visits because of any parasites or stuff like that, because I have started breeding my own bugs. And it's also a safety net because if you are low on money, I mean, hey, we all have struggles sometimes. So if you're low on money, or if you can't go to the bug store for whatever reason, or if there's a storm outside and there's like a hurricane going on, you can't go get bugs, hey, you have thousands right there you can feed. So it's like great to have that as a safety net and also as peace of mind. And it's just a lot healthier, I think, to breed your bugs. But that's just my own personal opinion. In the future, I plan to breed all of my bugs when I have a bigger place. Because right now I'm only living in a 2-bedroom apartment and I cannot have all of those bugs just around. So when I have a bigger place, I'll start doing that. So are the insects you buy, such as hornworms, parasite-free or safer than a hornworm in my garden? I would not feed any wild bugs whatsoever. It is not safe for them because you don't know what type of parasites those bugs have had. You just don't know. You don't know what they've been eating. You have no idea with those wild bugs. So yes, it's much, much safer to buy your bugs instead of grabbing one from outside. You just have no clue what they could have, and it's just not worth the risk. Honestly, it's not worth your bearded dragon's life. So definitely buy your bugs. Breeding is even better than buying your bugs, but in order to breed your bugs, you need to buy the bugs to breed. So it all comes back to buying your bugs. But yeah, just make sure that if you do buy your bugs, it is from a licensed bug breeder, a safe bug breeder, and not some like random people you're buying off of like Craigslist or something like that, because you just never know, okay? You never know. All right. Hello, hello, everybody. Uh-uh. Can I bring out my babes? I mean, they're pretty chill right now. I'm gonna leave them. If they start getting all riled up, I will bring out my babes. But until then. Oh, congrats on getting your lizard in 2 years. That's a long time to wait, but it's a lot of time that you have to study up on your bearded dragon. What are the best ways to clean the tank and how often should you do it? I use something from Carolina Custom Cages that includes chlorhexidine and then back up from Dawn 1 time per month and change bedding. So with the substrate, I'm not sure what you mean by bedding. I hope it's not a loose substrate, but with that, I have a carpet in my Bearded Dragons tanks. In both Bearded Dragons tanks, I have carpet. So with that, what I use is actually these cleaning solutions that I bought from beardeddragon.co. And you can find it on their website. It's really easy, and it's an all-natural thing where you can just mix it in a spray bottle and spray it and kind of dab and clean it up that way. I also full on take my carpets out, scrub and wash them in my tub with sometimes Dawn. If it's just like real nasty, I can't get something out, I'll do it that way. And I also switch out, like throw out those carpets and get new ones every single month. Unless, of course, they've had like parasites or something like that. But I haven't had that issue in a long time with parasites. But yeah, you want to be sure to change it out at least once a month. If they've had like horrible poos or that carpet is just wrecked, you can change it out sooner, of course. Can you talk about a little bit about the differences you didn't expect in a rescue dragon versus my own babies? So, with rescue dragons, I actually, Nyx, my bearded dragon Nyx is also a rescue dragon. Belly is the only dragon I have that is not a rescue baby. The other one, Baby No Name, which if you guys watched my rescue rehabilitation videos, and he is in a great home now with 2 boys. Oh my goodness. He has like 2 like younger boys, like they're in elementary school, and they just love him. He's getting all the love. But anyways, so the differences that I see between them is their behavior, honestly. Their behavior and I guess mobility would be the main thing, because Nixie, she was in the beginning stages of NBD. So I had to like give her more calcium. I had to be sure that she had more liquid calcium. I was very, very careful in what supplements I gave her, what I fed her. I even gave her kind of like little exercises, like little what I call mobility training. And after a while, her mobility was a lot better. And I will be sure to do a video on that. I had to like stretch her out and, just kind of work, kind of like physical therapy with the dragon. And I had to do that with my male as well, Baby No Name. I did that with him as well, and his mobility turned out better. So mobility was definitely one thing that was different, because with rescue dragons, the main difficulty that you have with them is low calcium deficiency or calcium deficiency. So they have issues with like movement, their muscles, they have issues with like their bone structure. And otherwise, they can also be a lot more clingy. Like rescue dragons, I have found to be a lot more clingy than regular dragons, simply because I think they're more thankful for everything that you have, because they remember everything that happened before, and now it's so different. They're like, thank you, love me, oh my gosh, thank you, don't leave me, type of thing. So my Nixie is very, very clingy. Like, she'll get really upset if I don't give her attention certain times like in the day. Like, I have to give her attention and a pet like all the time. And oh, Lord forbid, if I pass the tank without giving her a head like scratch, she will puff up, get all mad at me. Like, so it just depends on the dragon. But I think they turn out to be a lot more clingy and a lot more uh, lovable, maybe, I guess you could say. How come my Beardy is always hungry for bugs? Well, during this time of the year especially, they are super active. Like their metabolisms are super fast because it's warm and they're just like, oh, I'm a lizard and I'm gonna do lizard things and be all active and, you know, mess stuff up and they just love being active during the summer. So they lose their minds in the summer. So they're gonna eat like half of your wallet. Like they're just gonna eat like 3 times their weight in bugs and just be fat and happy. Basically, that's what they're gonna do during the summer because their metabolism is so quick. They will just put it down. And with females during the summer or sometimes during the year, if you notice their appetite getting higher, like I would definitely go to a vet or maybe check for eggs in their stomach because they could be gravid, and that hunger could be because all of their nutrients and everything else is being sucked into the fertile or infertile eggs that are inside of them. So they're just gonna be like, I'm hungry, I'm ready to eat and demolish everything, you know. Um, Do I breed anything other than Dubious? No, currently I do not. I have tried doing crickets and then I just got really annoyed with crickets because like the sound was just, oh my gosh, too much for me. And the smell, oh my gosh, the smell. Oh, it was not worth it. It wasn't worth it to me to like breed those. The only way that I would ever breed crickets again is if I have a like a garage that's outside so they can be outside, you know. But no, I only breed dubias right now. But when I get another place of my own that is bigger, I will breed other bugs. How often should you take your bearded dragon to the vet when it is a baby? You should take your bearded dragon to the vet once a year, especially, and no matter like if you're just getting the dragon, no matter what age they are, you should have already taken them to the vet to get a blood test, a physical checkup, and a fecal sample, just to make sure they don't have anything wrong with them. They have a clean bill of health. That way, you are starting fresh, new, and you know that there was nothing wrong from the beginning. Um, and then from that point, take them once a year and also take them before brumation. Babies don't usually brumate, but they have been known to show signs of brumation as early as like 4 months, 4 months old. So usually it doesn't happen until around a year, but it can happen as early as 4 months or sooner. If you have a dragon that brumates sooner, hey, I haven't seen it, but it could happen. Um, My juvenile bearded dragon lately doesn't like it when I try to touch them. What can I do? I have been thinking of getting another one. Ooh, I hope you don't mean that you're gonna get rid of this one for a new one, because that's sad. Don't do that. But honestly, are they shedding? Like, it could be that they are grumpy because they're shedding. Maybe they're about to go into brumation. Maybe they don't like something or they feel threatened by you for whatever reason. Maybe it's like the color of your shirt. Sometimes when I wear black shirts, my bearded dragons will like kind of give me the weird look, like, what are you doing? Like, you know? So it just depends. There's so many different things that could be happening. Maybe you have a ceiling fan that's like freaking them out. They're like, oh, it's gonna get me, like everything's out to get me, you know, type of thing. It just depends. So if you send me pictures of what's going on, their surroundings, the outside of the enclosure, like what is around the enclosure, and give me an idea of like what your schedule is, I can try to help you guys. I am going to say right now, you guys, I have been on this live stream for 1 hour and 22 minutes. So at 1 hour and 30 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. But until then, keep asking questions because I want to answer as many as I can. I'm so happy with this turnout, you guys. This is so much better than I thought it was going to be. Um, let's see. Oh, I'm happy you're or I'm one of your favorite YouTubers. Oh, this they said this is not a bearded dragon question, but what days will you post? Usually my day to post is on Saturdays. If everything goes well with my editing and getting my software like updated and back on my now new laptop, I should be posting this next Saturday. I mean, not tomorrow, but the Saturday afterwards, I will be posting. So I'm gonna try to keep doing it every single Saturday. Oh, I love you too! All right. Oh, somebody said nasty flies and gnats drive my bearded dragon insane. She totally destroys her enclosure and occasionally gets one, but yuck. You want to be sure that you try to not have those in the tank simply because you don't know what they're carrying and they can actually make your bearded dragon sick. However, my bearded dragon has eaten a fly before and she has been fine. I did go crazy and go to the vet and get every sort of test I could because I was freaked out. So they can survive, but it's best to not have those in the tank. What is my opinion on dry food? I don't like dried food. I think it is better to have fresh and live food, never frozen or dried food. Simply because it's just not fresh. It's not as healthy as it could be. That dried food literally is where all of the nutrients is sucked out of it. So you're like getting the carcass of the food. So I just wouldn't do that, especially where they have those bug packs or those packs of food where it's like veggies and dried bugs. Oh my goodness, please don't do that. Like, don't do the pellets. Just no, 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 no. LizardGuru says no. No red pellet food. No bueno. Aw, thank you so much. I love you guys. I love you, love you guys. All right, I'm gonna answer a few of these questions that I promised I would answer real quick before I go. Um, what do your bearded dragons do when you're not there for a while? Basically, my bearded dragons lose their minds and run around the tank, and then they'll go get tired, go back to the basking spot type of thing. They'll poo, then they'll freak out again. Sometimes if I'm not there to, if I'm at work or something, they'll smear it around. Bearded dragons can be real active, especially during the summer. When did I start caring for bearded dragons? I started working with bearded dragons when I was young, like, oh gosh, middle school, because like my brother had this bearded dragon named Lotus, and at first I honestly was like freaked out by her because I was like, why does she look so grumpy? But then I learned that, like, it's just how they look. They're super cute, and I learned to love them. Then I've only had my bearded dragons for a couple years now, but yeah, that's when I started working with them. Who was my first dragon baby? I actually got two at once. It was this baby bearded dragon named Opie. Oh, I love you too. It was a baby bearded dragon named Opie who actually passed away. If you want to watch my Opie tribute video, I will explain all of the reasonings and how and what happened with her and why I even started my YouTube channel. And Belly was also one of the first dragons that I had, and she's still living strong. And then Nixie came in after Opie passed away. What was the biggest learning curve when it came to bearded dragons? So this one, oh my goodness, you guys. I think the biggest learning curve was learning that there is so much conflicting information when it comes to bearded dragons, and you have to weed out all of that information through cause and effect and trying it yourself, basically. What is the stupidest mistake I've ever made as a bearded dragon owner? Oh my goodness. Hands down, the stupidest mistake I've ever made as a bearded dragon owner was feeding mealworms. Don't feed mealworms ever. They can kill your dragon. They are not safe for your dragon. Just don't do it. It actually ended up killing one of my bearded dragons, and it was one of the biggest regrets I have ever had. But that's why I'm here, and that's why I made the video, and this is why I'm expressing it to you guys. Don't feed mealworms. Bad. No bueno. How far should a lamp be from the basking spot? It should be anywhere from 10 to 12 inches from the basking spot. And how long should your UVB and your heating lamp be on for during the day? In the summer, it should be on for around 14 hours. In the winter, it should be on from like anywhere from 10 to 12 hours per day. And then, of course, the rest of the time, like your light should be acting like the sun. Like that light literally acts as the sun would. So keep it on as long as the sun is, or like, a few hours afterwards, of course, if you're gonna hit that 14-hour mark. But generally, you want it for 14 hours or 10 to 12 during the winter. Um, how do you know that your bearded dragon is sick? You know that the bearded dragon is sick from how they look and how they're acting. I have a whole video on this. It is called What Your Bearded Dragon is Trying to Tell You Part 2. It's like sick dragon versus healthy dragon or something like that. But I teach you all about like what to look for in there. So please go watch that video for that. All right, let's see if there's any more questions here. Aww. It's my pleasure to do these videos, you guys. I love you guys. Okay. What if you're scared of crickets? What other things could you feed them, or what could you do to feed it with a tube? Okay, so for this one, tongs. Tongs are great for that. I use I use feeding tongs. I don't touch bugs. It's not happening. I will either use tongs or I will use gloves because this girl is not touching some live bugs. The little creepy crawly hands. Oh no, I'm not doing it. So I won't do it. I won't do it. I just won't do it. But you can also, some cricket carriers have like those tubes that go in, and you can kind of just pull those out, put them in the shake cup, shake it up, and then put them in there. You don't want to directly feed those bugs from there into there because you want to be sure that you have all of your powders and your calciums and your supplements and whatever else, which again, I have a whole video on that if you want to go watch it. I've been feeding my Beardy mealworms, but I've been in a secluded area and it's a long commute to get any other alternatives. So for this one, this is the last question I'm going to answer, you guys. You can order bugs online, and if you do that, you can also try to breed them from where you are. Like order Dubious, and then take them and then try to breed them there. Order crickets, try to breed them, do the same. You know what I'm saying? Breed whatever you can get online because mealworms are just not going to cut it for your babies. Like some geckos can survive off of mealworms, but like even then, like you just don't feed mealworms, you guys. It's not good for them. But I am at an hour and 30 minutes with you guys. Oh my goodness, this is so much longer than I thought I would be on here. This is so much more participation than I thought I would have. I didn't even know that you could give me donations on here, so that's cool too. Thank you so much for that. So I hope you guys have had so much fun hanging out with me because I have had a blast hanging out with y'all. And as always, from my family to yours, I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I will be here next weekend on Saturday at 12:30 to see you guys with a brand new video. And if for whatever reason that doesn't go according to plan, I will let you guys know. So be sure that you are watching my social media, my Facebook and my Instagram. I use the most, my Twitter and my Snapchat. I've been a little slack and it's just easier for me to use the other ones. So be sure to be watching those. And again, as always, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week.